Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to talk through the MEV unit, the MEV 160 and the MEV 300. There's two units, there's four variants in each unit, which I'll go through in a second. Basically the main difference between the two units is the performance. So one has a slightly more powerful motor than the other, but we'll go through that in a separate video. Today I'm going to go through the sort of just dismantling and installing the products themselves. So I'm going to go through the MEV 160. Excuse me, I'm going to show you the units. I'll stand up so you don't have to look at my beautiful face. You can just have a look at the unit instead. So the first thing you'll notice when the units arrive, they'll come with 4 screws in. You do need to set them off to remove the lid. You'll also see there is one spigot, doesn't have any connections in it at all, and the others are blanked off, which we'll sort of go through in a second. You'll notice the unit, the main difference, MEV 160, and if you're looking at the 300 unit, I made earlier, that's got the MEV 300 on it. So, you know, when you first look at the units next to each other, they do look very similar. As I said, it is the motor inside that's different. The first thing you'll need to know when you get the units, there's 2 options on either model available. One is the standard one, which comes with 125mm spigots for the extract points, and then you've got a 125 one going off to atmosphere as well. You get 3 of these in a box, so when you order a unit, if you order the standard one, you get 3 125mm spigots with it. Alternatively, you could go with a fast track version, so you can get the MEV 160 FT, which is the fast track version. So basically this comes with a spigot to connect the fast track ducting to rather than 125mm. So you connect the ducting onto there with your connector and your seal ring, just clips in and job's done. If you go into a 90mm, you'd use the 90mm fast track adapter as well. So they're the first 2 options you can get with the units. The other options, once you've decided which ducting you want to go with, whether it be fast track or the rigid 125, you can go with a hardwired boost, which comes with a 3-meter fly lead. It's a volt-free contact that you'd wire directly into the boost switch, turn the unit on to boost, turn it back off to go back to trickle. You do get a switch live with the unit as well. Part of the power cable, you get a switch live into the unit. So you've got the hardwired 125 or fast track, or you can go with a wireless one where you get the wireless button, and obviously you press the unit, boost the unit for 20 minutes, press the button, boost the unit for 20 minutes. And then you'd also get, with that one, you also get the switch live input on the mains power cable as well. The other difference between the hardwired and the wireless is with the hardwired one, as I've said, you get the volt-free cable. With the wireless one, internal to the unit, you get a 0 to 10 volts cable that you can wire into, which you could then wire the air sense into to give you that variable speed depending on the air quality. I'll go through that once I open the unit up. So, as I've said, the first thing you want to do is undo the screws using the right size bit. If you are using a power tool of any sort, especially when you're screwing the screws back in, make sure you have it on a low torque setting, because obviously you don't want to drill them in on a high torque. It's going to end up damaging the casing or the thread or anything that it's into. Once you've unscrewed the screws there, again you're going to need get yourself a flat screwdriver. Hopefully you can see that one there. Cameraman's on strike today, so he's not zooming in for me. But you'll have a look on the unit. Again, 3 tabs. Just push the screwdriver in, lift it up like that, and you'll hear a little click. Do that 3 times and you can lift the lid up. When you want to lift the lid up, don't prise it and bend it that way, just lift it up and then away from the unit. Have a little bit of twist movement and it'll come up like that. Don't sort of bend it like that, because you'll damage the tabs on the cover or the frame of the unit. And then when you've safely removed that to one side, out of the way, you can then see obviously the internals of the unit. You've got a fan scroll there, got a PCB, and then that's where you're ducting going off to atmosphere. You'll see there's various knockouts that you can just twist out. So basically that one, just twist it anti-clockwise, that just comes out, and then I can put a spigot attachment in there depending on what I've got going on. What you can also see there, just in the corner there, if you can see it, we'll do a quick close-up, but that's your 0 to 10 volts input, where you would run a cable in and then wire to your AirSense CO2, VOC or RH1 if you want to do it. And it's also got the built-in humidity tracker as standard. Once you've got the unit to bits and you know which spigot you fit in, so if you're going with the standard version with a 125 duct, First thing you need to do is undo a screw in there. Basically get a Phillips screwdriver, undo the screw. As I said, you'd get 3 of these in the pack. Yeah, quick at that, just one I did earlier. Put that in there. Again, you'll notice as you look at these, you'll see a couple of small tabs and one larger tab, and you'll see there's a couple of little slots, 3 small ones, 1 large one. Put it in, give it a twist round, and that's that fixed in position. Then you get your spigot attachment. Try not to drop your screwdriver. You get a spigot attachment and then screw that in there like that. That didn't fit. Try that one again in a minute. If you're going with a fast track one, again the same, you'll get 3 of these in the actual box, but what you'll do, unscrew that again, take that apart, and again that would just fit in there. Appreciate I've just gone with both sizes now, and just screw that in, so you can see now what I've got actually on the top. I've got a 125 connector, but on the bottom here I've put a semi-rigid one, but you'd have, you know, one or the other. You'd either have 3 of these, or 4 if you wanted to get an extra one. You can buy extra spigots, or you could go with old fast track, depending on, as I say, on the install and what you're doing. Once you've got those in the right position, it's a matter of obviously marking it up, deciding where you're going to do it, and utilising the fixing holes. So you've got one here, one down here, one in the corner there, one in the top corner there. So obviously you're going to have to mark it on the wall, figure out where your ducting's coming from, or even on the floor, get your ducting onto it and put your fixings in. When it comes to fixing the unit, you'll get a pack fixing kit. Bear with me a minute. My esteemed colleague will pass me these bits. Thank you very much. So what you get in there, we get some screws, you get a washer, but you'll also get a rubber washer or spacer, whatever you want to call it. So obviously with your screw, you put your washer on, you put your spacer or the rubber washer on, and obviously what that's going to do is just prevent a bit of the sort of the noise reverberating on through the unit onto the screw, and then obviously down onto the foam pad. And when you're fixing it on, obviously the foam pad goes between your surface you're mounting on, and obviously then wherever the screw's going, and then you screw down into it. But we'll show you another video in a little bit of that. That's basically it. It's your fixing kit. Get it together, make sure you've got all the bits ready, and we'll give it a go at just installing it. Fairly straightforward really, but we'll speak to you in a second and I'll pick all my tools back up. Hello, welcome back to Mrs Jones's loft space, where we're going to look at fitting the MEV unit now. So got the unit there. What I'm just going to show you first, what I've done here, put a few buttons to go across the joist there, because obviously these are too far apart to fix the unit on, so a bit like we do with the loft PIV unit, a couple of battens across. These are spaced 300mm apart, because I've got the unit, I'm going to have it going that way, so my duct to atmosphere is going through the gable end wall, and then my other ducts are going around the property to feed the ensuite and the bathroom, etc. So what I've done there is fixed them down, spaced them evenly apart, 300mm, so I can fix that. First thing obviously I want to do is get the lid off the unit. So I've actually taken the screws out, just pre-prepped it, so I've got the screws out. So again, using a flat screwdriver, just prise the unit up, lift the lid off, and the lid should come off fairly straightforward. And as I said, then I've got the unit there, just make sure my fixing holes are fine. And what I've done also, I've pre-prepped my screws, so I've got my washer and my rubber washer on there, ready to go. And then I've got my foam pads. So I'll sit them, and you could mark these in place, but it's fairly easy to access where I am here. I'll just get them underneath. Obviously if you're up in the loft space, the last thing you want to be doing is falling through anybody's floor, so ideally a nice working platform. It's a bit like what I've got just on the other side here. So yeah, right. So all I'm going to do now is obviously fix that down, making sure I'm going through the foam pad. What you don't want to do is again over tighten it, but the other thing, doesn't want to be too tight there. You don't want to be squashing this foam pad too much. It needs a little bit of leeway on there. If you're squashing it down, it's not going to do its job. The idea is it's there just to suppress the noise from reverberating on the joist and things. You could, if you wanted also, you could actually, you know, on the wooden battens here, you could put extra cushion in there with some foam pads. if noise is a bit of a concern, or you may think it can reverberating down. A lot of it will depend on the structure. So again, I'm going to get that one in there. Again, that's just squashed down, that's just nicely fixed now, so hopefully no noise will reverberate through onto the joist. Now obviously the next thing you've got to think about is obviously your power, so getting that towards your local isolator. Obviously it's going to need to be a triple pole isolator if we're utilising the switch live, otherwise we could, if we're not using the switch live, we could use a suitable fuse spur or something like that, but and then obviously just clipping that where we need to go. Just took it out of the way for the moment. This one is the wireless unit, so it does have the facility for 0 to 10 volts input if I wanted to utilise it on air sense or anything like that. I say again, it's got the built-in humidity tracker, so it's not a requirement if somebody particularly wants it for some reason. The next thing I want to do is obviously organise my spigots. So for this instance, I'm actually only going to have 3 spigots on it, but I could have 4 if I wanted to. Obviously we know one of them is out the way. In this case, I'm going to be using a semi-rigid ducting, 90mm, so I'm just going to do the bathroom, an ensuite and another bathroom with it. Obviously if I was doing a kitchen run, I'd need to double it up and run 2 together. So obviously we need to maintain that velocity below a certain amount, so we need to double the kitchen runs up. I'll stick that in there, just give it a twist. Obviously then what I do, fix that on there. I've got my screw. I know what you're doing is looking at the back of my head. Obviously, just being careful, get a screw in there, tighten that up. And then it's just a matter of just getting, when I've got my semi-rigid run, just clip it onto there. So I'm also going to use this one here. So again, just twisting that, takes it out. Dispose of that into the box. That one in, again, just push it in, give it a twist. One like that on there, screw that one on. Again, I'm not going to show you that. And then I'm going to utilise this one over here just so it's easier for you to see. Again, I'm twisting that anti-clockwise as I'm looking at it. And then I've got my other one. Again, looking to where the larger tab is. Just give it a little push that way and then twist it, and that's on. Again, putting that on there, not forgetting to screw that on. So that's really 3 connections all connected up, ready to go for my fast track ducting. I could utilise this one as well if I needed. And that's basically all ready to go. It's wired in, sensors and everything, so now it's just obviously remembering to put the lid on. Just give it a little tap on all 4 corners, make sure it's on, and then that's because I've not screwed that one on. Let's screw them in a second. As I said, I'm now going to fix the lid on using grep bits, again making sure it's not on too high a torque setting, which it is, because what I don't want is to damage the unit. Okay, so that's the unit fixed now. Now the electronics, again, accessible on this side here. Appreciate you can't see that, we'll have a quick close-up of that. But the keypad for the electronics is similar to the current MEV Spider, or exactly the same as the current MEV Spider unit, which you'll also be familiar with if you're used to using the MVHR unit. So you're just pressing hold the set button for 5 seconds, puts it in the commissioning mode, and then you can commission the trickle and boost speeds. Obviously go through your commissioning process, measuring the noise at the valves. Once you've done that, that's it, she's ready to go. So hopefully it's fairly straightforward. As I said, you can use different spigots if you want to use the 125 spigots. And then we've got the run to atmosphere there as well. And that's it as far as the install goes, fairly straightforward. Don't forget to take all your tools with you. Don't want to be leaving them for Mrs. Jones. And we'll also take me brew. Happy installing.